Eva Joly hefur gert kröfur eflingu á embætti sérstaks saksóknara vegna bankahrunsins og að ríkissaksóknari segi af sér embætti vegna hagsmunatengsla við rannsókn hrunsins.
Hún segir að mörg ár geti liðið þar til menn verði leiddir fyrir dóm, en rannsóknin hér sé svo mikilvægasta sem eigi sér stað í fjármálaheiminum í Evrópu í dag. Heimir Már ræddi við Eva Joly í dag.
Eva Joly heldur fast við þá kröfu að ríkissaksóknari víki úr embætti vegna tengsla sonar hans sem eins af forstjórum Exista við rannsókn bankahrunsins.
There is a real difficulty and he has already been replaced with an ad hoc state prosecutor for these all the cases that are being treated by the Special Prosecutor's Office. But I still think that this is a weakening, because it's not the same thing to have an ad hoc state prosecutor, to have the real state prosecutor with his office, with his personal weight, his experience. He is an institution, and I think it is a pity to deprive this inquiry of the support that we could get from a state prosecutor that are not disqualified because his son is involved.
Would it be enough to appoint another one beside the state prosecutor, another state prosecutor?
I think that is not the idea, and I think you have a strong institution that is the state prosecutor, and this strong institution should be able to follow this inquiry. It is as simple as that. And the sitting state prosecutor is disqualified. He is quite close to retirement, so I think it would be decent of him. He cannot be fired, but he can decently retire. He can negotiate in which conditions he should retire. But I am already happy that he is not on the cases that we are on. This is a progress. I do see that this is a progress for sure, but I still think this is a weak solution.
If it doesn't go, will that be a stain on the investigation?
I cannot say more than I think that it would be better for us to have a state prosecutor in full possession of his office, his collaborators and his status with us than the ad hoc prosecutor.
Nú vinna 5 lögfræðingar við embætti sérstaks saksóknara, en samtals vinna 13 manns við embættið. Eva vill að lögfræðingarnir verði minst 10 ásamt 3 saksóknurum. Alls þurfi 30 manns að vinna við embættið. So the authorities already have this estimate from you?
Yes, but I do admit that it's very broad and it can be much more refined. But the Special Prosecutor's Office only got about 1.2 million euros. And so they are within their budget, but then they are limited, you see.
And isn't it up
and you
to...
know, you see, you must think of this investigation as being the most important thing to do in Iceland right now, because it is important for your future. It's important for the fabric of society, that light can be thrown upon what happened, and that we can recover assets that has been diverted. And nothing, I think, in your history right now is more important than that. And besides that, this investigation at the end of the day will not be expensive, because it will be financed by the assets that we can take back.
But isn't it up to the office of the Special Prosecutor, Ólafur, and maybe you, to find this expertise, these people, and simply just hire them?
I cannot do that.
Ólafur can, maybe.
And Ólafur can only do it within his budget. So I think this is a political issue.
It has to be sold on highest ground?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. Do you believe that the Icelandic society has the expertise, the experts can be found here in Iceland to take on this job, to be those 3 prosecutors, to be those investigators who have to help the lawyers and the accountants and so on?
Well, it's a small society, but you have experienced prosecutors, and we must be able to hire them, because the prosecution can only be made by Icelandic people. So you can have advisors and experts coming from abroad, but the prosecution business must be done by Icelandic people.
Tell us a little bit why you think this is the maybe the biggest and most important corruption case in Europe today.
Yes, I can only say this from what is commonly known. Looking at the books that are public of the banks, you will find a lot of contradictions, and I think I won't develop them here. But there has been a lot of failure. The control institutions did not control, the auditors didn't audit, and the personnel within the bank probably did not follow the rules. So this is what the investigation is all about. And it is a huge amount of money involved. And I think that your people, they know it because they are going to pay for Icesave, for instance. And I think that this is not possible only to ask the public to pay without what happened before be going thoroughly through, and the responsible sent to court if there are offences, if there are cases to answer.
Is this a kind of a pro case for Europe, because banks have been going bankrupt in other countries too these last few months?
I think that this is kind of a laboratory, or it can show how the bank's real world is. We're going behind the cards, and I think this will be very interesting.
Are you personally convinced that the members of the boards of the banks, people among the owners of the bank's directors, have committed premeditated crimes? Some of them.
Well, as I told you, as a normal citizen, before being advisor to the inquiry, I could give some opinion. I think I should not do that anymore. So I think I will keep my opinion for myself. But I can only say that this is important, and that we need the means to do the inquiries. This is important for the future of Iceland.
Do you predict that the main line in the defense, if people will be brought to justice, will be that they were only doing that everybody else was doing?
That I'm sure they will say, yes. That is what I've heard for 20 years. And people very often said to me, Madame Joly, why are you interested in what I'm doing? I'm only doing this is on a small scale, or, you know, it's like being caught when you drive your car at 200 kilometers over, and you say, well, why me? Everybody is doing it. So, but that is not an excuse.
No. In this small society of ours, it's a totally new thing to have not just one, maybe two, up to maybe 20 billionaires. That's a new thing here.
Yes.
Do you think that already before the banks collapsed that we had developed an elite that thought they were above the law?
Yes, there are no reason that the Icelandic society should be different from the other society in Europe. And this goes with wealth. When you have the habit of traveling in your private jet and have breakfast in Roma and dinner in New York the same day, you become part of another society, that is the International Jet Society, and they have their own rules.
Eva Joly, thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you.